So now we will go through trying to understand how is it that Anode can support the financial document use cases. So typically, when it comes to financial companies, there are different kinds of information that the companies deal with. The analysts look at data sets like, say, 10Ks or 10Qs, earning calls and transcripts from like different kinds of earnings calls or annual reports, and they are usually spanned across different kinds of formats. We have PDF files, document files, PPTs, etc. So the way in which that financial companies currently handle their data is that they have analysts who go through each of these reports manually and then try to identify the correct data point that they're looking for, and they then basically make a note of it and use it in their analysis, which is a fairly manual process. And in order to circumvent this particular problem, a lot of big names in the financial domain, like companies like JP Morgan, Moody's, Bloomberg, and Morningstar, they have dabbled a little in the LLM space to try to figure out how is it that they could efficiently solve this problem. And and the outputs, though they have actually worked with models so that they can solve this problem in a much more structured way. One of the major problems that these companies are encountering right now is that all these models are fairly generic. They are not trained on financial data, due to which the results that they are giving or the answers that they are giving for the data points that the companies are seeking, they are not very accurate. And most of the times, we end up seeing two kinds of errors actually coming. First one is model hallucinations. It is a scenario where the model actually figures out that particular data point but does not give you the exact result. For example, say the document said that the revenue was 23.7 billion, but the model ends up returning a value of 2.37 billion. And because of the discrepancy that is there in the value, if we end up using the wrong input, that leads to a catastrophic result when it comes to, say, the judgment call that you end up taking. So in order to deal with this problem, again, the companies use another layer of manual intervention where an analyst again goes back and validates this particular data point. And the second issue that we have noticed is that the models lack domain specificity. What I mean by that is that when we ask a particular tailored question about a particular document, because of the subjective nature and the lack of model having financial institution context, the results that are actually produced are not very accurate and they're not very useful. Because of which, again, there is a manual layer that comes in. So eventually, the entire activity where an LLM is supposed to simplify a problem is also adding an additional step and also a lot more resources in the process. And this is where a solution like Anode comes into picture, and Karan will take you through how Anode solution actually helps this particular use case.
Okay, so it's a very simple four-step process if you use Anode. So basically, there are four categories: label, train, predict, and evaluate. So for the finance bench datasets, like for the 10Ks, it's a simple four-step process. First, you got to upload your documents, which are basically the 10Ks. Then you have to customize them. So customization basically, let's say if you have a taxonomy, which is like a set of questions which you want the AI to answer from your 10Ks. So you can just upload that file. And after you upload that file, basically you can just annotate. So annotating is basically from all of the files. You can just label the answers for each of the prompts you had in the taxonomy. And then you can select the model. The model will get trained on it. And ultimately, after a training quickly, you will get all the results. The results for the prompts which the AI model answered on the taxonomy. So let me show you a quick video which has the demo of our product so that it will be better to understand for you. So basically, you will, as I said, you have to upload the documents. Then you will upload a list of questions. You got to annotate, and then you can download the answers. So once you click on upload, basically you can enter your dataset names. You can select for your use case. As in this case, you will select the chatbot option, and you can select the decomposer method. So after doing this, you will get an option where you can upload all of your 10K data sets. So once this is done, you have multiple options. One where you can add the taxonomy, which has basically the list of all your questions, or either you can enter your prompts manually by just typing in the text box. So once you're done entering all the prompts step by steps, you can just click on train the model button, and this will essentially just train the model. And here is the annotation step. So once you've uploaded all the documents, once you have inserted your prompts or the taxonomy, you will have the option where you can annotate it. So this option is quite flexible. You can skip through the questions, or you can add in more questions, and you can just annotate the data set so that the model gets trained better on it, and it has the domain specificity for the questions you want to ask it. So once this is done, the AI model gets trained on it, and you will get a report. So basically, this report consists of all the prompts you had in the taxonomy, or if you have entered it manually, and the corresponding answers that the AI has generated. So this is the basic four-step overview of the entire process. Now Soumya will take over the slides.
Great. So now that we have had a walkthrough of the product, so essentially what Anode does for you, just quickly summarizing the flow. Anode essentially acts as a private chatbot for you where you are able to upload different kinds of financial documents that your company is dealing with. And based on the predetermined questions or any questions that you would want to ask the chatbot, basically you can drop in a question saying that what was the earnings for that particular quarter for this particular company. So based on the document that you actually uploaded, the chatbot will give you a result. In this way, a lot of effort and manual labor that companies end up putting right now actually gets removed, and the process becomes a lot more efficient as well as accurate. And coming to why it matters or how Anode solution basically can add a difference in this particular setup. So basically, Anode solution helps addressing two of the problems. The first one is the efficiency issue where data labeling actually helps solve for it. So before having a solution like Anode, there would be an analyst who is doing this process manually. So it was tedious, time consuming, as well as very costly. And it's a manually repetitive process, so it keeps happening every now and then. But with a solution like Anode, you can do a one-time setup where you can basically customize whatever it is that you want the model to do or the kinds of outputs that you're looking for. And the model basically gives you those responses. So the entire process becomes a lot less time intensive as well as less expensive. And the accuracy is also multifold. Secondly, coming to document processing. So earlier, because it was a manual process, we could not rely on the results very much because the accuracy part of it and the entire human element quotient also adds an additional layer of risk. So with a solution like Anode, basically we have high accuracy solutions based on the data that you have input. And also you will be able to generate a lot more insight because you already have the data that you can consume in a format so that you can run additional analytics and you'll be able to use those insights to make a much informed choice. And coming to the impact and uh, so essentially, Anode basically helps you optimize on a lot of parameters right now, right from the amount of resources that you're using in terms of, say, the number of people in a company. Like if a normal financial company had to do this particular task, they would use somewhere around 1,200 people, whereas with Anode, only 50 people will be able to do the job. And coming to the cost as well, it is just a fraction of the cost because there's just going to be like when it comes to any company, they invest more than 96K every single year to do this, whereas Anode does it for a fraction of the cost. So in terms of say impact, both you're getting higher results as well as the cost is a fraction of the cost that you would do on a normal day, doing the way things are actually being done by financial companies. And this is basically an overview of the financial document solution that Anode has right now. Thank you.